No, I'm not sick, and I will get you that as soon as this meeting's over.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we're kind of sitting in our hands right now waiting for it, so.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Jordan, email Jordan. He has access to it from home.
Okay, I did, he was included in the email as well. But
Oh, did you send an email this morning?
All right.
Okay. I'll text him and let him know to send it to you.
All right, thank you very much.
How you doing, Kelly?
Good, how are you?
Good. Good enough, anyway.
Morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Oh,
Okay.
doing pretty good, I think.
Is Wednesday, the 24th of March, 10 a.m. is a special meeting of the Board of Commissioners. I'm Bill Kanda, and please mute your phones if you haven't done that so far. And having done that, you got it muted. I'll call this meeting to order, and I'd like to have Kelly lead us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God,
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we got her started. This will be a quick one. I called this meeting, and we'll make that clear here in a few minutes. Let's have the roll call first.
Commissioner Kanda,
Here.
Commissioner Flower,
Present by Zoom.
Can you hear us, Tom?
Yes, present by Zoom.
Can't hear you.
Tom is still muted.
I did hear him respond. He said present by Zoom.
Can't hear Kevin either.
Kevin is unmuted.
You hear me, Jordan
Tom,
Benson? I can
say
hear
it
both of
again.
them.
is our speaker on?
We up on here? Brennan, is this on up here?
It should be.
It says Logitech, so I'm assuming it's on.
It should be on. Let me log in and say something here.
Can you hear me now?
There,
I hear you now, Tom.
I can hear you and I can hear Kevin and Kevin can hear me.
yeah, it's not coming across the
Oh,
speaker.
there we go.
There. Say it again.
I can hear
Okay,
Bill, Kevin and I can hear each other.
now we can hear you. Okay, so Commissioner Day,
Present by Zoom.
oh, Attorney Clint Smith,
Present in person.
I'm confused here. And Clerk to the Board, Kelly.
Welcome home. All right, so we got a roll. And in the boardroom here is just Vernon manning the machine. We've got the attorney and Kevin here. I think that's all we have online. And is there anybody else in on the Zoom call?
Well, Jordan Benson, he's monitoring too.
Okay. All right, real quick, the agenda is what it is, and I don't have anything to amend the agenda with right now. Any comments, Tom or Kevin, agenda-wise?
No,
None
I'm
here.
not.
Okay. What about you, Mr. Attorney?
Nope.
Okay, the whole point of this meeting, I thought would be very good to get together in that we started off with a pretty big bang, got the 2 jobs applied for, and people had applied for both the HR payroll as well as the finance director. And then during the last week, I wanted to bring everybody up to speed. The things kind of fell apart. The HR payroll, John Price, who was very excited to be here, ended up not being able to find a house. The house that he tried to get was sold. That was Annie Hansen's house. And there were only 4 other pieces of property that were even close to what he could consider. And he did look at each one of them, and I went through it with him with a fine tooth comb. And it just, in the end, he just had to beg off and say he's not interested. But what he did do is if we are interested in an HR person at some point, then he's got a candidate that he would like to send toward us if that goes that way. Meanwhile, we also had Roy Gilmore, the candidate for the finance job, also backed off of that. And I did have a conversation with him. He said he may consider an interim thing, maybe if we need some help as we go along here. And then in the meantime, after a lot of discussion with Donna and Vernon on last Friday and the first part of this week, it looks like things are moving along. I wanted to bring everybody up to speed on that hasn't been involved. They have completed the payroll, I believe. Is that true, Vernon?
We're in the process.
Of finishing that up right now. Things are going per the handouts and per the notes, I understand. And they came up with an interim solution, which I think is a good one, and that is, Vernon, I didn't realize, but Vernon has a tax background. What you worked for somebody at one point.
I worked for Jackson Hewitt in Pueblo, managed a couple stores down there.
Yeah.
Did taxes for many years.
So Vernon is no stranger to the numbers, and is actually real fortunate that he's also the IT guy here. And so given that, I think they've come up with a good salvageable temporary plan. And it might be a long-term in the end if it pans out. Donna's very confident that the payroll is going to go off without a problem. And then the finance piece of this is picking up. So that sounds very, very promising to me. I know that Vernon had run this by Kevin, and Kevin, you can bring in some points as well. I was very pleased to see what I've seen so far. And so why don't you say a couple things, Kevin, and then we'll continue from there.
All right. Yes, I had visited with Vernon, excuse me, a little bit last week, I guess, early on. And he had expressed that he would be willing to work with Donna and basically what you were just referring to. And at that point, I had not spoken with either one of you at all. And but I told him my personal opinion was if he had the opportunity and the time to do that, I would say go ahead and jump over there. If nothing else, he had a little bit more training over there if it did work out. If not, no harm, no foul. So that's kind of where we stood there.
Yeah, I was the same way, and I was excited to see Vernon had the initiative to go do that. And that's still a question, Vernon. That would be right now. Your thoughts would be to continue doing that as long as it takes. It might turn into a full-time job or not.
We're at a nexus point for Custer County. We're at two nexus points. Donna Hobby leaving, being basically the sole person that knows the entire system, basically created the system for payroll, finance, and HR over the last umpteen years, and then moving into a conversion which will take us from one accounting payroll system that we've been using for a long time to a new system, which is going to be quite complicated and quite involved.
I wanted to bring that up, Vernon, because I guess we've started that conversion already from what you all told me.
Yes.
It's all remote.
Mm-hmm.
And once that conversion's done, then the payroll part is going to be almost self-contained, I guess. That's sort of what you all have said.
It's going to be much simpler once the process is done. It's very, very complicated right now because we're using old software that is very static and doesn't like to change, for the times. So everything has to be done manually. Once the process is done, it's going to be a lot simpler, but getting to the other side of that is it's crossing the gap.
So right now, are you, both Donna and you, comfortable that we can get through the end of this month and the transition forward?
Well, the end of this month is going to be easy.
Yeah, it's coming, isn't it?
Yes, yes, I'm working very hard to make certain that I've got all the systems down, all the systems embedded in my processes, and so we can do that for the next 2 months as we change over to to CIC.
So in the meantime, you got Jordan Benson, you think is going to pick up the IT stuff?
Yeah, the thought process there is that Jordan will move to full-time. If, if my salary moves to finance, then Jordan, then my budget will be fine in the IT side. I'm coming in early every morning, and last night I stayed 2 hours late to do all my background IT stuff. And so I'll continue to direct Jordan and the work that needs to be done for IT, and then work with Donna and make certain that the finance and payroll happens.
The only other question I had was HR. And I think we have even discussed the fact that for now, perhaps even our BOCC admin, Tina, when she's back, could do some of the HR stuff. Is that what somebody mentioned that to me on Friday?
Okay, that's entirely doable. We just have to make certain that the training is there right now. So that's what I'm doing. And if that's the decision of the commissioners, then I can train her for that process, because it is quite involved. It's involved.
The HR piece?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You're talking about just HR, not the payroll part of it.
Well, it's all involved, but yes, the HR is quite, when you start dealing with the monetary side of the HR, the withholdings, the benefits, the insurance and all of that, it's intense.
So would that be part of the finance job that you have, or
Well,
that would make more sense? That wouldn't be something.
It's going to be, one thing I wanted to propose to the commissioners is once we get through this conversion, to take a look at the differential between the breakouts between finance, HR, and payroll, so that we can really see the big picture. Right now, it applies as it is, but that's going to be changing in the next month or two. So I think that we need to reevaluate the splits between those three jobs after we get through the conversion.
And the conversion being when to when?
Well, right now to approximately June or July, just in time for budget season.
Okay, so it's the next 3 or 4 months.
Yes, sir.
So you would recommend keeping it the way it is. And then as far as the HR pieces of doing some interviews and that kind of thing, we would do something different.
Yeah, if that's your call, then Tina can, the BOCC admin assistant can work on that aspect of it, yes.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep going on this. We did postpone the VSO, and we've got some other things that are coming up. So
as long as we keep to our legal obligations for the human resources aspect of it, I think, yeah, that we can move forward that way.
Okay. Any thoughts, Tom?
Well, I've got some questions. I've heard officially from John Price that he has resigned.
Yes, he called Tom. He never accepted. He never signed anything, and he never took any payroll or anything. He was in here one day, and when things fell apart on his house, there was just no recovery. So he bailed on us.
But we don't have anything in writing.
No, and we never had anything in writing that he accepted.
And I had a conversation with him about the person he wanted to recommend, or no?
Yeah, I did. I had a conversation with him about the lady, the HR piece of it. And he sent me her resume, and we can take a look at it and continue seeing if we can ask her if she wants to apply. We'll have to see. She's got a family and is interested in moving up here.
And as there, I mean, obviously, we've not had a discussion about the other applicant that we received, the application that we received.
On the finance side,
Well, I think it was for either one.
it was, I did talk with the candidate that had decided to withdraw, and he said he would consider as an interim possibly coming in and helping with us if it was made some sense. He would entertain that. Had a long
Now,
talk.
let me look here. Got to be careful about throwing names out, so I want to, give me just a second. Is Donna Hobby in the room?
No, she's not here right now.
Probably
need
should
a-
have her.
Do you need a name, a number? We've only had one serious finance person that we considered, and then that person withdrew. And then I got a hold of that person over the Friday last week and on Saturday and part of this week. That person said he would consider it, but I don't know, after hearing what Vernon and Donna have gotten rolled in here, I don't know that we need it right now, probably. And if it does pan out, then we can roll into it, see what the conversion has done, and then move in from there. So it's going to change.
Well, Donna sent, excuse me, an email March 22nd at 4:57. I don't see your name on it, Kevin, so I'm going to forward it to you right now.
You might as well forward it to me too, Tom. Save me from finding it. Was it from Donna?
Yes. Well, actually, it was from a sender to Donna myself and you, Bill.
Okay, I'll look.
So I just think we've got some work we need to do.
I don't see the email, Tom.
Did you look on March 22nd?
Yeah, I'm looking. Here you got it. Oh, I did get this one. I did see this one that you just sent. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that was another candidate. Correct? Did I lose everybody? No.
They're all muted.
Sorry, I'm trying to stay muted so you don't get any background noise. Yeah, that's my understanding.
Yeah, I saw this one. I just saw it actually this morning, actually.
I don't believe I saw that one, so thank you for sending that to me.
You're welcome. Yeah, your name was not on that distribution. You must not have had your address.
And that's another viable candidate for sure. Be thrown into the hopper for now. Anyway, I was very disappointed that John Price couldn't find a place. He sure was hot to do it, but he wasn't when he didn't have a house, so I can understand that. And we've got, I think, a pretty good start going on the transition wise. That'll continue even with the other candidate that we can consider here. It might be very useful. So from my perspective, at least, I wanted to make sure that we all had some comfort knowing that the team is still plugging on here and the payroll is being made. The transition is occurring, and people are beginning to work the transition. I think it's going a lot better than I thought it was going to go, given the fact we haven't got anybody else to just pull in full time. So I was very happy with that, and thank you for standing tall there, Vernon, to
Thank you, sir.
grab a hold. So it looks like we got another candidate we can consider. We can roll that in as we round off the corners here in the next couple of weeks. And I think shall we? My thought was to continue advertising if we no reason why we shouldn't, from my point of view.
Question, if I might, just since I haven't seen this before, I'm just now kind of looking at it, and it looks like this individual has applied for one or the other. Is that correct?
I think he applied for both.
Okay.
Now, it makes me wonder if he knew that we'd split the position out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either, and it's going to be a little bit different as it clears up here. I think as this transition goes on, it may change the. Probably be smart to wait until we do get it rewritten to reflect actually the conversion. It's going to be a different job.
Just a thought on my end. I'll throw it out there to you guys. What would it look like to go ahead and let Vernon jump in here in the interim like he is suggesting, and that would give us an opportunity then to look at this applicant a little closer. Right now it's going to be a little difficult to move quickly on this application, and I know we need to have someone in that position to move us forward if we went ahead and went with this plan that Vernon has, and then give us an opportunity to look this application over better, and maybe visit with this individual if it looks like we need to, as far as one position or the other.
Like the idea, it's probably the right thing to do. There's not that right now. There's no point jumping in now. We've got it in the transition now. It's
We're in the rapids right now.
yeah, we're right in the middle of it. So I think it's fine. And I think that at that point, we can re-advertise if we decide that's the thing to do, and then look at all the candidates, including this one, down the road a little bit. I think we're in pretty good stead to tell you the truth. For now, anyway. Any thoughts, Vernon, other than what we said? Does it make sense?
No, sir. I feel if we stay the course, we're going to have a solution for the interim. On the other side, we can look at. I feel like we could look at more options. Or if you review the candidate and bring him in sooner, or bring someone in sooner and share that process, it's up to you.
We can take a look. yeah, we're gonna have to handle the HR piece of this at some point. And I don't necessarily think Tina should be doing the job, and it's something that we could consider as an interim interviews and that kind of thing, not necessarily doing the HR piece of finance.
I see.
Okay. Well, it was, it's just a way of, wouldn't you know, luck works out the way it is, but we're lucky we've got a team of people that can keep the ball rolling though. Because you get right down to it, that's what happened when Donna took the job. It just all evolved and the job became what it is. Also, I understand there's people that can help with Sam DiNardo. We've got a cat that would come by and help us a little bit. I understand Donna has made that arrangement too. So I think we got plenty of help. My feeling is, go ahead.
I was just gonna see, Tom hadn't really responded after I threw that out there. I didn't know if he had comments on that or not.
Well, there's no part of that that surprises me because I guarantee you Vern is coming in. He will be willing to do whatever he needs to do to help out the county. I respect him and applaud him for that. So, excuse me. I don't believe he would intentionally overload himself at whatever job he was doing for the county. So I appreciate his willingness to step in and be part of the solution, which is a rare thing these days. So I just appreciate that. Vernon, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think we just cannot get blinders on here. I think we have to continue to look at the big picture, moving the county forward in a non-reactive way.
Correct.
We believe things need to happen in a certain way or a certain time frame, then it's up to us to drive that. I have not been privy to the conversations between Commissioner Kanda and Vern and Jordan, so I have no idea. I would think we want to get Donna involved in these conversations while she's still available, but maybe that's already been decided. I don't know.
No, I'm sorry, Tom, to have left that out. Donna's been integral in the whole process. And she's been bringing Vernon along day by day. And I actually went in there when John Price was having his problems with it. And we sat down at length and looked at what are the options. And I think having Vernon be stepping up and being energetic enough and young enough to grab a hold of this, I think it's a wonderful thing to keep us going. And then what gives us time to deal with how we want to handle the HR world when it comes back to being normal. And the payroll piece is gonna, sounds like it's gonna be fixed on this conversion.
It's going to change a lot. So, and it's going to be easier.
So it should be a lot more helpful. Mm-hmm. So our job description may change a little bit, and it may change how we want to handle the HR piece of this too. So I think we're okay. I think we're not in jeopardy right now from what I can see. And Donna is more than happy. I mean, if we want to get her on the line here, I can bring her on, Tom, if you want to talk to her.
No, it's fine.
Okay. How about you, Kevin? Are you good with it for now? And let's.
Just to comment on that, if it might have been good to have her here for a second, but Tom, I had visited on one of my trips through there as well, and I believe from my conversations with her, she was more than willing and happy to see that Vern was offering to try to take this on. And then in my conversations with him, he had voiced that Jordan could step in and take over more of the IT, and then he could be there if Jordan ran into problems on things of that nature. So to me, it looks kind of like, at least in the interim, like kind of a win-win. We can go ahead and fill the role. It might turn out to where we see this moving forward and it works great. Or at the least, it would be a stopgap measure until we could find someone else, including possibly this new applicant for one job or the other.
Good enough.
That might even be one job, and maybe moving forward, this other job that might just roll into where Vernon fits that slot good and he takes one and this other applicant takes the other. I don't know what that would look like. But in the interim, I think it might be a win-win for us.
Sure is right now.
Can I ask?
Go ahead, Clint.
Well, I want to be sure then, if Vernon is going to be filling Donna's role for the time being, then is he going to step into that salary position? And if Jordan then becomes full-time, Jordan will be paid full-time for what he's doing as of April 1?
That's correct. And I think from what I understand, what she had budgeted was 120K, something like that for everything right now. So there's money to be had, moving people into the right positions, and we certainly can pay the people doing the job. So it'll work out. And that gives us some flexibility down the road too. I like it. Okay.
Well, I guess my question to Clint in regard to your give us some flexibility, I don't know that we'll have any flexibility if we offer a full-time salaried position. And is that going to be for HR, payroll, finance? Or are we going to look at it differently and on an interim contract basis, give us another month or two to try to continue to apply and interview? I don't know, Clint, what do you think about that?
That's what I was thinking, Tom. The way Vernon had laid it out, this is a good first step, grabbing a hold as the director for it and take it on and as needed if we evolved it or if we modify the current descriptions based upon how the conversion goes and how we change the job. I think we really need to wait and see on that. I think that's probably smart, and then tailor the positions. I think, Vernon, you're good with you couldn't work yourself out of an IT job here.
I just want to make certain everything goes smoothly.
Yeah.
And I can do both right now. Like I said, I come in early in the morning, I stay late at night, and once Jordan comes back, we will be, we'll have all the angles covered there.
I really like the idea of your expertise, your numbers, and your ability to do budgets and that kind of thing already. To add, I mean, this is a big deal. It's a big transition. World's changing. It's a whole new system now. It's probably the right time. And if you're willing to grab a hold of it and roll with the punch, I think that's.
Yeah, and I see changes that can be made that, I don't want to get into the weeds, but I can see changes in the future with the new system that is going to be more streamlined and going to make things simpler for the whole county. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be It's just a matter of getting through that process and implementing them the correct way. And I think that that's part of my own thought processes, excuse me, with my work with computers.
You know what, that's probably a good point, because if we'd have hired somebody new with the old job in mind, it wouldn't have been the same.
Right.
And it would have changed. It would have been a whole different animal. So maybe this is very fortunate that it's happened the way it is, actually, to grow this as we go.
Because remember, we're dealing with an accounting and payroll system that is literally 25 plus years old. It still operates in DOS, and it hasn't changed with the times. So we're going to be moving into a new era.
Yeah.
If I might.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, Vernon,
Yes, sir.
question for you, sir. I think this kind of touches on something that Tom asked a minute ago. Then you are willing to come over and I'll say in the interim here, for HR finance or HR payroll and finance, HR payroll. What is that looking?
As I get deeper into the systems, it is very difficult to separate payroll from finance. There are HR aspects in both, but payroll and finance are very intertwined at this point in time. So the separation is, it's going to take some work to separate it.
That's why you need to you need to evolve it.
Yeah, it needs to evolve. We need to evolve it. We need to evolve our own understanding of it. So, and that will only come as we get into the conversion itself, as we see the newer capabilities of the new system. So right now they are intimately intertwined, and so I have to learn all of it in order to get any of it. I have to practice all of it in order to get any of it.
I have another question. What's the agreement with Donna starting April 1 for contract work to work with Vernon?
She said she hasn't signed anything, but she said she would consider it and come back as needed.
Okay.
There
hasn't been any agreement.
No, we need to
hourly rate or anything.
We probably ought to talk to her. Probably ought to sit down with her here before I leave here today and see what formally she's got in mind.
That would beg the question as well then, as to what, if we did this, what Vernon would require as far as salary on that as well. We would need to know that moving forward also.
I haven't thought that far ahead yet.
Yeah, he's only gone as far as taking on the HR job or the finance job. We haven't talked about the actual position amount. We need to do that.
And I don't know that any of us have been.
The whole 120, so I don't know.
No, she wasn't going to give you the 120.
No.
But anyway, yeah, all right. I'll talk. That's a good point, Kevin. I'll follow up with Donna on both counts and Vernon here today. Okay. Any other points, Clint?
No, just curious about the financial end of it.
Okay.
Well, I think we're going to have to decide if we want to interview the last applicant before we move forward.
Yeah, we'll have
That'd
to
be an
take,
agenda item at the next regular meeting then.
we need to probably take a look at that on the end of the month then. Now, we could decide that today, because we are looking at the applicants. I mean, it's not beyond that.
Clint, I'm sending you that email as well.
Okay, I'll take a look.
I know that applicant's got capability, that's for sure. So I don't know if it's needs to be rolled into what we really want to change here or not. Tom, what do you think?
Well, I certainly respect what Vernon has said about this transition to CIC. Initially, we said we're going to break that into 2 positions. I'm still kind of leaning towards that. But I certainly respect the fact that we're not sure what that's going to look. But if we hired 2 people for those jobs, we could split that out as it naturally progressed. I probably would not be in favor of going back to 1 person doing all of that. I'd have to be really convinced that this CIC has cut that by 60, 70%. I just don't want to go back to where we were.
I agree, and well, we need time to take a look at it, I think. So I agree. We can discuss that applicant later as it goes on then, and let's see what happens. Meanwhile. All right, how you feeling, Tom? You getting over it?
Oh, I think I'm improving, yeah. Yep. So I think we do need to talk about salaries and what interim, what's that look like if we hire 2 people? What's it look like if we're gonna have to contract Donna out if she's willing to do that? I just think we got to have those conversations before we make too many decisions.
I agree, and I'll, like I said, I agreed to go chase that down starting today, and then we'll meet in our next meeting on the end of the month, I guess, and we can talk about it then. I'll put it on the agenda.
Yeah, I would think we want to add, probably Kelly, we want to add consideration of interviewing an applicant for one or the other of the positions. Then we can have that discussion on the 20.
Well, we really want to discuss the salaries that we're proposing. We need to have a discussion on that. So
I call it consideration of appointment of interim finance director / payroll HR
yeah, that's a good idea.
and compensation.
Did you hear that? That's a very good idea. So we'll consider the interim position that Vernon's established right now, an interim appointment, and we'll deal with the salaries. We'll deal with the what Donna wants to have to come back and consult, and any of the other those issues that you can establish for us, Vernon. And then we'll discuss that, and then we'll decide.
Do we also want to consider interviewing this other applicant for one of the roles as well, or not?
Well, let's take a look after we get this established first, Kevin. It's still
Okay,
done. But let's get it. Let's get the interim stuff established first, and then we can decide how we're going to split it out and make a new job description based on where it's fallen at the time.
Well, I think it'd be responsible of us to go ahead and put it on the agenda so we don't get caught up against some deadlines. If we don't want to consider it, we don't have to, but at least it would be on the agenda.
Yeah, not a problem with that. We could do it not on the end of the month, but two after that. Calendar.
That's the 30th, right?
Yeah,
31st.
31st, and then.
Kelly, I would
Today.
request that we just put on their consideration of interviewing any applicants for those jobs. Maybe John Price comes up with maybe that gal puts in an application that he's talking about, who knows?
Yeah,
Well, that would give, like, I don't want to make that decision myself today because this is the first time I've seen this application. So, you know, if we have it on the agenda to consider doing that at that point, then we can set it up at that point.
or
If we want,
not. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable making a decision today. I just want to get it on the agenda for our next commissioner meeting.
But I personally would be comfortable, I think, moving ahead and letting Vernon jump in there in the interim. There again, we need to figure out what his compensation is going to be. And I don't know if he's willing to let us wait until that point on the 31st, or if we need to do that today.
No, I think he said he's ready to, he's flexible. I'll talk with Vernon and Donna. Yeah.
I'm just gonna take both salaries.
I know, there you go.
All right.
So then do you also want on there consideration of contract with Donna or,
Yeah, we want to take a look at the whole interim process, scales, et cetera.
okay.
All right. I like it. Donna,
Well,
what do you-
I guess I would probably, I would like to make a motion then that we allow Vernon to work with Donna here throughout the rest of the month and to step into that role in the interim. And remuneration, if I can say it right, will be discussed on the 31st meeting.
All right, I like that. I'll second that. Make it formal. You get it, Kelly?
Mhm. I want Kevin to spell remuneration.
Spelling remuneration.
Remuneration, REM.
Cortana, spell remuneration.
Remuneration, not remuneration.
Sorry, that was going to be my big word for the day and I butchered it.
It's okay. So it's been moved and seconded to have Vernon step in as a temporary, what do we call it?
Interim finance.
Interim finance director, and we'll work on the remuneration later. All in favor, say aye. Tom?
Tom is muted.
Lost you, Tom.
He's still muted.
Are we going to have discussion before we vote or not?
Oh, yeah, we can discuss it. I'm sorry. Jumping the gun. It's been moved and seconded. Let's have some discussion.
Well, I think with respect to Vernon, we need to be pretty clear here that that we appreciate his offer, but that we are not obligated to convert that to a full-time position until such time that the commissioner decide that's what they want to do, right? There's not,
That's
I'm
correct.
assuming there's not some unspoken assumption on his part or ours that he will become the full-time whatever person.
Nope.
Kevin said interim, so that's what I expect the intent of the motion was.
That's correct.
That was my intent. My intent was not to offer a full-time position. No.
Yeah. And I just think that's only fair to deal with Vernon on an upfront.
Sure, and he can always apply if it evolves into something he wants to go after.
I
Might happen.
And I know we haven't made a motion as far as the second part of this, which would involve Jordan, but I think that that same conversation would need to hold true there as well. If he moves up to.
Yeah, I
taking
would agree.
full time. So this could all go back right where it is. And I think in my conversations that everyone is aware of that, but it never hurts to reiterate that and make sure that everyone is on the same page.
Good point. Okay, so we got two, you're gonna make two motions here, or you're gonna finish this first one?
I have one on the floor is all, and I think we should take care of that before we do anything else.
Yeah, I think we got that one lined out. Any other discussion? Hearing none, let's call the vote then on the motion to have Vern take on this job temporarily and move forward. All in favor, say aye. Kevin?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
And I. Okay, and then you want to address Jordan Benson?
Yeah, and he wasn't too much of this previous conversation, so I think I believe he is very willing to step up into full-time in the IT position at this point. And to the best of my knowledge, knowing as well that it is an interim thing. And has expressed that to me as well in conversations with him. So that is my understanding. So I would put that out and you guys could take it from there for a second.
That wasn't phrased as a motion.
No, that's not a motion.
No, I'm just discussing things for a second. I didn't know if there was more discussion on that or if we wanted a motion already.
Well, I tell you, maybe we ought to wait until he gets back and we know he's getting tested today, I think. Is that true?
He's on, we could ask him.
Oh,
I got tested yesterday.
Well, I think we could make that decision for Jordan on the end of the month. If you want to wait. Apparently he's not there, correct?
he's online now. Let's ask him. Jordan, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So are you interested in doing this full time then for now?
Yes, sir.
And we don't know what full time means yet, wages wise, but it's at least you were half time and you'd go full time with what you've got today.
As long as we're moving the county forward.
Okay. So that could be the same thing. It all could change, and Vernon may want to become a tax man.
Well, and I appreciate that, Jordan. You know, I feel comfortable about our employees, specifically Jordan and Vernon in whatever position, and their willingness to do whatever. Circumstances could change where we may have to move back to where we're at right now. And I just want to make sure we have that conversation and everybody's aware that
Things could change.
Lord knows why it could have to go back to part-time IT and full-time IT.
Yeah.
Right.
Could do it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay, I appreciate your willingness to step up, Jordan. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
So we don't need do you still need a motion or not?
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll let it ride, Jordan, with you with the intent as you feel better, pick up a full-time, working this full-time as needed for now, and then we'll go from there.
That does need to be an agenda item consideration of interim full-time IT appointment.
Right.
So
I would assume we'll put that on the agenda for the 31st.
We just discussed that. That's what Clint was just suggesting to Kelly.
Oh, okay.
So we got it.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I have no other items to discuss, and I really appreciate the time everybody took to do this special meeting. Thank you very much. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would so move.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? No discussion. Say aye. Tom?
aye.
And I, Kevin.
Aye.
Okay, guys, thanks. I'll let you know what I find out with